Got that one. Dug him out of that tree. Not a big fish, but a Bartlett Lake bass. Come on, buddy. A small fish, to say the least, but a start. Come on. Got him good with that ChatterBait. One that might make 11 or 12 inches. I'll tell you what, today, folks, we're at Bartlett Lake. And man, it's been a long time since I've seen the water this high on Bartlett Lake. And I don't get a chance to get down here very often, but I'll tell you what, the water being muddy, just like about like Roosevelt or Apache right now, you know, from all the water rushing in so fast during the spring, makes for a few techniques that we can try. We know that the water temperature has moved up to 63 to 65 degrees. Fish should probably still be spawning. We're in that spring mode. And my lure of choice right now that I just decided to go to, something a little bit darker in this darker water, is a ChatterBait, a black and blue ChatterBait. You notice I have the black blade. I'm tying direct to the swivel that's on it, to the little latch that's on it. And then of course, I'm using a Lake Fork tail right now. That might change depending on how many bites I get on this. I can change that tail out to whatever I want to, but right now I'm using the little Lake Fork. I might throw a little chartreuse on it. But the water is so muddy and dark right now that it's very important that I use something either really, really bright or something that's dark, really dark. So I'm going with the black and blue. I'm gonna try that. I paired that up with a medium heavy Action Taipan Elite Series rod, Johnny Moore's Signature Series bait cast reel, and I'll tell you what, the most important part, 17-pound test fluorocarbon line. That's what I'm throwing there. Now, there's a bunch of different techniques you can throw, but this particular one's a lot of fun to throw. We could throw jigs in here, spinner baits, crankbaits, you know, it's wide open this time of year. But I chose the ChatterBait because I know the lake's been getting really hammered by fishermen with jigs and things like that. So I wanted to throw them something a little different, and that's why I went to the ChatterBait. It's a vibrating, otherwise known as a vibrating jig. And the reason why is because of that little blade. It gives it that vibration, that little wobble. You can throw this out there, let it fall, you know, and then work it up and kind of chatter it up or let it fall down, let it vibrate up and fall down. I'm slow rolling it right now. I'm gonna try some different things. I gotta figure out my retrieve speeds, what I'm gonna do. I was slow rolling that to catch that fish. But we're just gonna go down through here. Bartlett Lake, we're on the main lake, and we'll start here. We just got here and see what we can't catch. We'll try this technique for a while. I think it's gonna work. It's shallow water technique, a 3/8 ounce bait, and see if we can't catch a few fish. Hopefully bigger than that. Otherwise, I might go to that jig. We'll see. The whole key to success this time of year is understanding what the bass are doing. Let's talk about it a minute. Muddy water. Bass are going to move shallow, okay? They're going to get closer to the banks, okay? Not only that, okay? Not only that, it's springtime, so we know they're going to be shallow. So we've eliminated a lot of that process of trying to find where the fish will probably be. Find some good spawning areas, maybe that'll help. Backs of cuts, you know, things like that. Some sheltered areas from the wind. Today we're supposed to have like 10-mile-an-hour winds. So we're gonna work the shallow parts of the banks anyways today with our baits and see if we can't get some good bites. I'll start with the slow roll and we'll go from there. This dark bait does show up really good in dark water, you know. So even though you could throw a real bright chartreuse bait and you could probably catch fish on it, I'm gonna try this darker bait, something a little different they're not used to seeing in this area, and see if we can't get bit up here. Caught that one off a little bit of a tree there. Take our time. Now I might change that trailer out to a little paddle tail to give it a little bit more vibration. We'll see. That's the cool thing about the ChatterBait, is there's a bunch of different ways you can work it. You know, kind of like a spinnerbait. You can yo-yo it, you can work it like a jig. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can work it. One thing you want to be sure of that's really important is you want to be sure that you're fishing shallow. And what I mean by that is If you're not getting bit and you're missing that bank by, you know, 3 or 4 feet, you might want to make sure that you hit right up there on the bank. This is the time of year they'll be up in that 6 inches of water. So you want to make sure you get right up there on the bank and bring it off. There's going to be beds we can't see. That's really important to remember. There's, you know, with this muddy water, there's going to be beds we can't see, and they will spawn in 6 inches of water. So be prepared for that for sure. Hit a little bit of this rock, see if we might be able to pull a big female out or something. Points isn't something I'm really going to key on today. What I'm going to key on more is towards the backs of cuts, but we will work the point, means that we're here, and see what happens. Okay, we've come around this point. Now here's what I'm going to do. Not that we can't catch a fish down this bank. Odds are we probably could catch a fish down this bank, but I want to put myself where my odds are better in the springtime. And this is a wind-blown bank, wind crashing in on it, great during any other time of year, but in my opinion in the spring, I want to go find some of that sheltered water where those fish will be up spawning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack up and I'm going to start heading to the backs of cuts here. Wind's starting to blow a little bit more. I'm going to try to shelter myself out of the wind and find where those bass are back there in the spawning zones. And we're going to give ourselves better odds of catching a fish. All right, so we're going to move. Got him. Came right up and nailed that bait. Little persuader Buzzbait. The quad blade gets him. There you're talking right there. Whoa, come here, fish. Come here. Nope, 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 nope. You're done. You're done. Gotcha. Now, there's a little buck bass. Here's the deal. I changed up just a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why. We came back into the backs of these cuts, and I started looking, and I can see about 6 inches to a foot down, and I saw bass minnows. Some of these fish have spawned. When I start seeing the little minnows, sometimes that opens the door for that buzzbait bite to really take effect. But what I'm doing is I'm throwing this little quad blade by Persuader. I picked it up and figured I'll try this out. It's a quiet bait. It's a quiet buzz bait, but it makes the little gurgling sound like little tiny minnows. It's got the little whoosh sound to it. It doesn't have a big clank to it. So these fish that are shallow, you know, they'll go up and nail that thing and think of those little baits, and then they see the little green tail. I put a little chartreuse tail on the end of that thing, give it a little action. We'll see if we can't run through here and catch some fish. Now, we had been fishing some coves without any success at all on the ChatterBait, and no matter how bad you want these fish to bite your baits, you can't force feed them. You got to figure them out. That's what we're out here doing, trying to figure out what the bass want. I kind of know the areas they're in. When you see the little shad minnows like that, or not shad minnows, but bass minnows, not all the fish are probably done spawning. There's probably still going to be a lot of shallow fish as far as that goes. We just can't see it. But once you start seeing the minnows coming up, a lot of times that's when that buzzbait bite will kick in and have a lot of fun on it. That or the frog or something like that, but the buzzbait I really like. So we'll just go down and try it a little bit. This helps me cover a lot of water quick too. You know, when you don't know an area, you don't feel confident in an area, or if you want to just push some water, move down the bank a little bit, then you'll want to grab a bait you can do that with. Now you can also, and we might still pick it up, we don't know yet. The crankbait might be another option. But man, I don't know about you, but if I can catch topwater bass, I'm in. And Persuader with that little quad blade makes it really cool. got that one. If I can keep him low enough. I got a real light wire hook on here. He's just a little guy, but I got such a light wire hook on this rig. Oh, here he comes. When you use light line, that right there is a little buck bass on a Ned rig. Look at that. You need to throw this on light line. One of the new techniques out, it's a little 1/4 ounce head. It's got the little weed guard on it. And it's just got a little fat piece of, you can use a piece of Cinco or what have you, but that little gizmo right there is awesome. And what I'm using, let me pull it out here a bit. You need to throw it on light line. And you need to make sure your drag's set, because I've lost a couple of fish on it because it has such a light wire hook to it. If you take a good close look at this hook, look how light wired that is. And you'll lose fish on it when they go to jumping and stuff if they don't have it good. But sometimes when you can't get bit, I don't know what happened. We got a full moon. I've been all over this lake today, and it's been tough. And got a call from my buddy Andrew. He says, hey, don't forget about that Ned rig. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I haven't tried that out yet. Not for a long time. I almost won a tournament at Shoal Lake on this bait right here. But man, I lost a lot of fish on it too. So you have to be really careful. I've had to learn to really downsize, use light line, 8-pound test. You can use 6, but man, when you're dragging this across the rocks, it's very spooky. I got to check my line. But use an 8-pound test line, fluorocarbon, and set your drag loose. Here's the system here. Oh, I could show you this. This is made by Z-Man, okay? It's a great little, they come already pre-made like that. Look at that. And you just hook the fatty end up. It's got a tail and a fatty end. And you put the fatty end onto the hook itself. Now, I thought I put another one down here. I sure did. This is the one that's not weedless. And you can see how that's rigged. See how they got the little spot on there to hold that plastic up on? That is key right there. So, in saying that, this rig's a lot of fun to throw, but you gotta throw it slow, and you gotta make sure that whatever you do, you use light line and set your drag. You have to set that drag to catch those fish. A new little rig, fun finesse fishing when the fishing's tough. I've lost 2 on it already. I had to reset my drag to where when I pull on them, you know, I'm not putting too much tension on them. That's key. These fish have been very finicky today. And talked to a few of the other fishermen. These guys were catching 30 fish last week, and I've ran into people that aren't even getting bit today. So I felt good catching a couple, you know, but you know what? When you're not getting bit, you downsize. If you downsize, you got a better chance of catching those fish and getting bit. I would suggest using a drop shot rod, you know, something light. If you're gonna use anything a little stouter, then you wanna be sure that you set that drag. Allow that fish to fight. Hard to keep them from jumping, spitting that hook. And all as I'm doing is I'm throwing it out there. It's real simple. I'll just take and throw it out there. All right, then I'm gonna let it fall. And once it hits bottom, you're gonna drag it like a little jig. You know, let it sit there. The fish a lot of times will just pick it up. It's like candy to them. They can't stand it. Smallmouth love this bait. If there's any tip I can give you with this, one of my biggest tips is let it fall to the bottom. And let it sit there a second. Let it sit there on its stand just for a second before you even move it or touch it. And give it a chance to do its own little work, because if you throw it out there and start working it back before it hits bottom, it's really not giving it a chance to do its job. Even though it looks like a do-nothing bait, it's got quite a bit of action, and it just darts down and sits there and wiggles for a second. You gotta let it do that. That's a great tip. There's one right off that point. It's still a little guy, but it's a fish. Come on in here, son. He's a little bigger than the last one, maybe about the same size. Boy, you gotta let them take it with these things. You just gotta let them take it. We got that one pretty good. He was right off that point. Finicky little guys today. You know, Bartlett's really not known for having giant bass. I mean, but it's still a fun lake. You can get on this lake and catch a lot of fish. It's, boy, he boogered up my beast pretty good, didn't he? There we go, got it. But you could still get out here and catch a lot of fish. I'll tell you, right now we're just in that in-between stage. They just got done spawning, and I thought for sure I'm sure there's still some spawners somewhere. Water temperature has moved up to 70 degrees. There's always a few late bloomers, but we didn't find them today, that's for sure. You know, throwing this bait, whew, it's been crazy today. We caught fish on a buzzbait, on a chatterbait, and then on this Ned rig. And I'll tell you, every fish came from a different area. Like this one came off a rock point. It's like, man, it's like, my goodness, you know? Well, tough day to say the least here at Bartlett Lake, but there are great fish here. We came on a full moon. We came, you know, after a little bit of a front, but I'll tell you what, the fishing here, trust me, there's a lot of fish in here and you'll catch a lot of them normally in here. But you learned a couple of new techniques you can try in here, and I'll tell you, this lake can be a lot of fun. Water's starting to clear up a little bit from talking to the guys that come out here all the time, so that's a good sign. But you know, other than that, I can tell you from previous times I've been out here, this time of year, here in the next week or so, when this thing really busts loose, you're gonna be able to catch them on Ricos, the topwater baits, the buzzbaits. You saw the buzzbait fish today, so they're getting real close to biting, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with some buzzbaits out here. This lake is notoriously great for jigs and buzzbaits. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun on this lake in the past. And I'll tell you, you can come out here and catch a lot of fish. Today was a little tough, but hey, we managed to find out, squeak out a few, figure out a little bit about what was going on, but next time I won't come on a full moon unless they're definitely on the spawn. Thanks for joining us on the water. We'll see you next week. I'm Johnny Johnson.
Now, see, that's what I'm talking about, folks.